Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. Just getting the lighting right here. And today we have an interesting topic that I think people might have some stories of other couples that they know of or themselves. Petty reasons to break up. Have you ever come across this where you're like, wow, that's pretty petty. That's the reason they broke up with you? Really? I mean, are you serious? Or you might be the one that got broken up with, and you're like, that's why you wanted to break up? Because that, have you ever been completely puzzled by someone's reason for breaking up or outside? I would actually tell you that it's probably deeper than that. So before we get into it, if you like this video, throw me a like. If you don't like this video, that's just fine. It's better to have an opinion than not have an opinion. Please put in the comments below if you actually have a petty reason to break up with someone in the past or had a petty breakup overall. What's the word petty mean to you? Put in the comments, share, subscribe if you like, hit the red button, get updated on all the live streams. I also have an Instagram account called Coach Mac McCarthy. I will be dropping the schedule this week. I know I've said that before, but this time it's real. Let's get into the topic, petty reasons to break up. I have a few good stories to share. I'm going to start off. I actually have a drive-through story, plane tickets to visit too much. I didn't like that you have dogs. You didn't like the birthday gift I got you. You just don't like to have fun. You can do better than me is a real good one. Good reasons to break up. Our values don't line up. You're an addict. That would be a solid one, right? So getting into this today, I really had this idea from a recent live coaching session I had with someone. And I don't think they mind if I share a little snippet of the story, because where I want to go with this is, if you think the reason broke up is petty, ridiculous, small-minded, perplexing, confusing, probably most likely the breakup wasn't about the petty reason that someone projected out there. So if you're thinking to yourself, God damn it, I can't believe I fucked up. I did that. I got her the wrong scarf she wanted for Christmas, and she broke up with me over it. And you're telling all your friends, I should have known that she wanted this scarf or she wanted this thing. And then you're going over it again and again, and someone's going like, she broke up with you because you didn't get the right scarf? Well, yeah, I mean, she really wanted this. And the guy starts explaining himself, and you're kind of like, what the fuck? I mean, if you're together with someone, there's a lot of clarity in someone breaking up with you and then going, must have been some scarf. Yeah, thanks, Kyle. It must have been, it's like hearing so many breakup stories. You have this happen a lot where you're like, wow. So let me just as we get more people on deck, I'm going to share the best story, which is the drive-through story, I think. And I'm going to unpack that a little deeper. But one of my own stories where I was in a relationship for, I think we were together about 2.5 years. And why I'm not crystal clear on that, I've never been someone that religiously, checks the months that I was together with someone. Obviously, you kind of know a figure of around the year or whatever. That being said, we were in long distance for about a year. And the plane ride was about 2.5 hours. So not too bad. And at the time, I was really tight on money, to be honest. I didn't have a lot of extra money. And that's not me being like a victim or complaining or whining. I chose the job I chose. I was working at a charity. I was teaching. And it was a really fulfilling job. It wasn't going to be something I did long term, but it was a part of my life that I don't regret. And I'm going to come back to that in a moment. It's actually a part of my life that I actually cherish, which I don't use that word a lot. So in that moment, I was teaching at a charity. I wasn't getting paid a lot. I was getting enough to make ends meet, whatever that means for some people out there. And my girlfriend at the time, like I said, it was about a 2.5 hour flight. So the flight at the time was costly for me. Doesn't mean I didn't care. Doesn't mean I didn't want to go on more flights and see her more often. That wasn't the case at all. I didn't have the extra money. Now, looking back, that was a choice. That was a choice in lifestyle. That was a choice in priorities. So I took this job. I was there for a year, I had a year contract. I was ending up there for a year and a half, I believe. And there was a lot of different things that went into this as I unpacked this. What's up, Keisha? How are you doing, hon? Aloha, Roller Girl. How are you? This is going to be a good episode. I don't have anyone lined up, so this will be a long live stream. So we're together for a while. Long distance takes its toll, as it does on any relationship. We would talk regularly. We would talk because we were in the same time. Like, this is another thing about long distance relationships. Being in the same time zone makes a difference. If you're in different countries, it's more and more difficult, right? So we would talk pretty much every night. We had a routine like a lot of long distance relationships have. And eventually it got to a point where it got a little old for me. It didn't get as old for her. She liked the routine of it. I didn't. We didn't necessarily break up over a petty reason. She finally had enough of me not calling as often as I used to, which is a common thing in breakups, and accused me of not caring as much, which was probably true at the time because I was getting tired of the distance and not having your significant other regularly, and neither of us was willing to really pick up and move within that year, and we both had opportunities to probably do so. And so looking back, hindsight, it was like, do you want to move to where I live or I want to move where you live? We didn't do it. She pulled the trigger on breaking up, which I reluctantly accepted, but knew was right, if that makes sense, in the moment. This is years back. But in the moment when we were going back and forth, because it wasn't just like a clean breakup, like I'm breaking up with you. It was like, yeah, like a slow fade, I suppose. It was more like, you need to call me more often. You're not calling me enough. I don't know if you're talking to someone else, da-di-da-di-da. And I was going out quite a bit. So I didn't blame her. I wasn't going out every night, but I mean, on the weekends and different things like that. And she was more of a person that didn't do those kinds of things. So I accepted it. It didn't feel good. It didn't feel great. And one of the things I said when we were, going back and forth, I said, well, I mean, it's just getting old because the money that I have to spend on flying, because I think she came one time in the year and I would always be the one to fly to see her. And that statement really ate at her. The statement being that, well, it's getting expensive to fly over there. She brought that up, threw it in my face 3 or 4 more times. I think because, we broke up, but usually a breakup, you don't just have a final conversation. You kind of have a couple conversations through the week or something like that. And she brought that up. I think we had to talk like 2 weeks later. And she was like, and the fact that you care so much about how much it costs to fly here. And it's like, I'm not saying that's the reason we broke up, but she took it that way because I threw it out there. And why am I telling you this? I'm saying that a lot of times the petty reason or something you threw out there, your mind's scrambling for reasons that you broke up. So you just throw darts. You go, yeah, well, another thing is the fact that, it's pretty expensive when I have to fly up there. Took it totally personal, took it to the heart that I didn't care. And then it was, it was all about money and the fact that, and the bottom line was I had made a choice to commit some time to being a teacher at this charity and not making as much money. And, I just didn't have a lot of extra money to make those flights regularly. I wish I did. And what I meant by that is it's getting harder on me to do that, and we can't see each other as much. She took it as a petty reason and a low statement. Money is a factor, but you know what I'd add? Like, people don't realize this, and I didn't even realize it at the time. I have the ability to make more money. I had a choice, and my choice at the time was I signed a contract to work at this school, a charity, and like I said, I knew the pay was what it was, and I knew it was going to be tight to make it for the year, and so it was my responsibility. It was a choice. I'm not blaming anyone, and she didn't have to be understanding of that. I was speaking frankly, but it wasn't the reason we broke up. The reason we broke up, if I had to put it on something, is neither of us was willing to move to the other city, and we both liked where we lived at the time. We weren't willing to sacrifice where we lived for the relationship. And that's what happens in a lot of long distance relationships. But she chose to hold on to that statement. Not anymore, probably. But in the moment, it was like, I can't believe you said that. I can't believe it was about the money of flying. And it was like, it wasn't about that, right? It just got twisted that way. If the hunter wants it, they will make it happen. Yeah, that's true. You're right, Keisha. You're right. And like I said, I made that statement in the middle of the breakup. I didn't think it was going to hurt her or upset her so much, but she threw that in my face 2 or 3 more times later. And fair play. Fair play. Money is a factor because it allows you maneuverability to do the things you want to do. And to be quite frank, if I had more money at the time, if I was making double the money I made, I would have saw her more often. That being said, it still didn't take the place of living in the same city, which is the ideal thing as a couple, right? So what I want to convey on this, at the time of the breakup, and this was a good girlfriend, she was a good person. I could have seen myself with her long term. Just timing and circumstances and the situation. Great woman, great girlfriend. And so it was a bit difficult to let go. I was able to let go way better or easier than my relationship prior to that one, which we lived together and whatnot. And that's another thing about long distance relationships. I feel like it's hard, it's difficult, but it's not nearly as difficult when you just live together and go into you just live together and you go straight into breakup. That's, to me, that's like 0 to 100, 100 to 0. Does that make sense? When you live together full time for years and then you break up like cold turkey, it's hard. Like it's ghostly in your room. It's a void. If you're the one, especially if you're the one staying in the same house or room, in my experience. What would you have done different? That's a good question, Keisha. Well, that's what I was going to get at. So I've made this statement in a couple of recent coaching sessions that Steve Jobs, who I in no way idolize, I have a little bit of a negative outlook on Steve Jobs in some ways, based on his body of work as a father, if the movies about him are correct, and rumors. But that's for another take. That being said, Steve Jobs is a brilliant guy with a lot of success. And one of his best quotes, I thought, is you don't connect the dots till later on. I'm not quoting that correctly. And what does that mean? It means that sometimes you feel like if I do this, then this will happen, and then this will happen, and then that'll happen. And the reality is, a lot of times at the time of a breakup, you're hurt. And you're like, this is going to lead to more hurt. This is going to lead to more angst. This is going to lead to more shit and crap. And the reality is sometimes the breakup leads to something great and outstanding. Like the worst breakup of my life, 10 years led me to live in Thailand. And now 10 years later or 11 years later, what have you, I'm a breakup coach and I'm helping people out with their breakups. Now, if that wouldn't have happened to me, I wouldn't be in this situation. So connecting the dots, looking back, it all worked out, and it worked out in the right way. And what I mean by that is a lot of times these petty breakups, they're like, what the hell? You're going to connect the dots later on. And if you feel like someone broke up with you for a petty reason, you're probably a lot better off. And that's where I'm going with this. But to answer your question, Keisha, what would I have done different in that breakup? Looking back, nothing. Because we needed a breakup because no one was going to move to the other one city. If we were going to make it work, one of us would have had to give in and move to the other city. I liked where she lived. She didn't really, I think she would have done well where I lived. And liked it. She just didn't want to move far from her family, and she was starting a master's program, which was high on her list. So it wasn't due to low aspirations or ambitions. So I think it was inevitable because of the timing. Trying to think, would I have done anything else differently? No, because the job at the charity was a good time in my life. It was a difficult job to take on. When I took the job, it wasn't my ideal job. I was teaching younger children all the way up to high school level, 1 to 2 hours a week of various classes. It wasn't something I was looking to do, but it was a fantastic life experience that I wouldn't give up for anything. So in that case, I wouldn't. Looking back, her as a girlfriend and our relationship, because we did have a year where we lived in the same city, and it was great. It was rose petals and wine glasses. It was fantastic. We had a great relationship, and I'm really happy for where she is and who she is today. So I don't have a lot of regrets on that. It worked out the way it should have, because We're going to break up regardless. The only thing I'm bringing up is the petty idea that she thought when I threw out, well, it also isn't good that I have to pay this money to go see you every time. And she took it as a very petty reason. So, okay. So let me get into, now we got 9 on deck. Thanks for the likes. There was another situation where I had a client that his ex broke up with him. They were only together for like 4 or 5 months, maybe 6 months. This was a story from 2 or 3 years ago. This individual, interestingly, actually just sent me, because we did a group of live coaching sessions together. He just sent me on WhatsApp, and some clients of mine that are past clients, I will give them my WhatsApp. Sent me multiple pictures and in an email that he just has a new fiance that he's been dating for, I believe, 1.5 years, and he wanted to thank me for helping him through the breakup. So what happened in his situation was he was with this woman, like I said, I think 3 to 6 months, but he knew her through friends. He was highly interested in her. He had been in a relationship prior to her of 14 years. Yeah, that's right. It was like 14 years. He was in his late 30s. So this was, I believe, his first or second serious relationship after that. What's up, Daniel? How you doing, buddy? This was his, yeah. And so he really liked her on a lot of different levels. And she just dropped the axe. They were and this guy was highly successful, pretty well off financially, had a really good lifestyle, I'll say. And he was doing a lot of things that would be impressive to a lot of women as far as going on trips and different things like that. And he was a good dude. He's a good guy. I'm not just saying that because he was a client of mine, but it was true. And so they go on a vacation to a remote island. And like I said, it's only 4 or 5 months in, whatever it was. It wasn't over a year. And one morning she wakes up, they're getting ready to go to breakfast, have a vacation day, da-di-da-di-da. And she just drops, I can't do this. I just have to be honest. I'm not that into you. And he was just shocked and hurt because he was here and she was like here. And he seemed to have no clue. You think you would know, right? But he was caught off guard, and the fact that they were on vacation and she dropped this on him, it just came out of nowhere. And she threw darts. And what do I mean by darts? Like, well, it's like, why do you want to break up with me? She's like, well, you have 3 dogs at your house. I don't like that. And you smoke cigars. I don't like that. And he found these things incredibly petty. Like, really? You knew that already, this, that, and the other. But the reality is, in the beginning of the relationship, yeah, some people don't like people to have pets in their house. That's a big issue. It could be allergies. It could be gross. It could be dirty. Cigars or smoking. Something that when you first started dating, you're like, yeah, I could deal with it. But honestly, it's a deal breaker long term. And so when we were unpacking things at first, I was like, damn, that's petty. But then I thought about it and I went, yeah, but if you guys are only together for 3 to 6 months, like I said, I don't know the exact amount of time. She's being upfront that these things are going to bother her and they're big deals to her. And so you're thinking like, well, I could maybe overlook that or this or that. Yeah, no. And the fact that you're not going to get rid of your dogs, right? That you didn't just have 1, you had 3 in the house. That's a big deal to some people. And so he had a lot of trouble dealing with her reasons. And he just didn't believe it. And I was like, you know what? Maybe she's telling you the truth. That those, long term, those are things that are eating at her. And if she let him go, what's the alternative? In a year you're together and she asks you to get rid of your dogs or quit smoking cigars, which is things that you love to do. Are you going to do it? I mean, it's a fair thing on her end to find things that she's not willing to negotiate on, and things that you find to be pleasurable, like cigars, or the fact that you keep dogs in your house, which some people that's just a no-no for them, right? And so we ended up getting through it, and he moved forward, but it hurt him a lot. And one of the reasons it hurt him so much is he was broadsided. He was shocked. And a lot of times, some of the harder breakups to get over is when you didn't see it coming. and you thought everything was great, rose petals and wine glasses, and you guys were getting along good. And out of nowhere, you're like, what? And then what? And then anything that person says contributing to the breakup, because here's the other thing about petty breakups and petty reasons. Sometimes it's just surface shit. They don't want to really tell you what it is. Think about that for a minute. Because of your feelings, right? They don't want to necessarily tell you that they're not attracted to you. I mean, is it possible that after 3 months, 6 months, someone could be dating someone and they're with them? Or this has come up before. I've had clients that like their partner says, look, the intimacy is not on par. The bedroom is not on par. And someone's like, I've never had anyone tell me this before. Don't take it personal, but it could be true. Because that's an area of a relationship that's important, but it's also, people like different things. People judge that on different levels. And so someone will say, oh, that's so petty that they said that I wasn't a good lover. Is it? I mean, what I tell people in those situations is I go, if you've never had that problem before, it might just be individually based with this person that you guys just don't have it going, right? Bad kisser, that comes up a lot, right? What's the definition of a bad kisser? This is what's really interesting. I've had a relationship before, girlfriend in the past. We didn't kiss a lot because we both thought each other were bad kissers. I thought she was a bad kisser. She thought I was a bad kisser. Problem was we probably had 2 or 3 bad kisses and then went, oh, wow, you got some teeth on me. It was probably bad timing, bad movement. And so someone goes, oh, yeah, you're the one that's bad. I'm the one that's bad. And then you go, have I had good kisses with other women? Yes. Have I had other women tell you that you're a good kisser? Yes. So it's an individual opinion based on one experience. That's what you got to be careful of, right? All right, let me get into the comments. We got 13 on deck. We got 13 on deck, and then I'm going to share the best story, I think, of a petty breakup when we get a few more on deck. But let me go through it, which will be the drive-through story, which is recently. Kyle Robinson must have been some scarf. Thanks for chiming in, Keisha. I was taught if a man the hunter wants it, they will make it happen. I've heard women also say, if this is true, Keisha, if they really want a man, they'll make it a lot easier also. What would you have done different? I talked about that earlier. Are you still friends now? Roller girl, no, we're not necessarily, but we are cordial. She's moved on with her life. She actually, I believe, got married. And I actually know she got married. She told me. And then after that, we just weren't in contact. But we certainly aren't on bad terms. We're on good terms. And if I saw her again, I'd give her a hug and wish her well. So there's nothing bad there. But friends at this point where we talk regularly, no, I don't think that her partner now would like that. And I don't know if I have the time to consider that. But down the road, sure, maybe. Solid Cat Inc., which is a fantastic, incredibly creative name. Solid Cat Inc. I can call you SCI. I called him out on his BS, told him my needs. Then he got upset with me, so he stood me up last Friday. Never called, blocked me. He's punishing me. He moved on already, 1-year relationship. He's punishing you. Where is your power in this situation? Solid Cat Inc. Please feel free to send your story into my email because my website's being worked on right now. Currently, I'm developing my website into a platform where other people can post profiles and be breakup coaches. So if anyone's interested in that down the line, here's my email. Coach Mac McCarthy. And I'll be helping people out with that. But I really want other people to be doing what I do, using stories and my strategy and techniques at helping people through their breakups. So that's why the site's under construction. Someone just went to the site that's a past client. It's like, I thought you quit, man. I wanted to tell you you're really good at this. Like, don't quit. I was like, no, it's just under construction. Solid Cat Inc. I'm devastated. He just threw me away. Okay, that's a victim statement. And it's a choice to look at it that way. Solid Cat Inc. I want to be real with you. I called him on his BS. So you had a problem with him. What was the BS? Told him my needs. Okay. Then he got upset with me. So he didn't accept what it is that you called him out on his BS. He didn't accept the fact that your needs needed to be dealt with. So he stood me up last Friday. That was a choice on his end. Now he's telling you who he is and how he cares about the relationship. Never called, blocked me. He is punishing me. Punishing is a strong word, and it's a choice to use that word. I wouldn't use that word. Solid Ink, you described a guy with beta qualities. That's a red flag. Doing great, just stopping by. Great to hear from you, Daniel. Whatever happened last time? You said you went back to the ex, or you were dating someone new. Doing great, just on my. I can't do this line. Usually comes out of nowhere. I can't do this is very broad. I don't think that's a petty line. I think that has to do with that's a phrase that's attached to an event of some sort. Solid Cat Ink, do yourself a fave and shut that door. My mom would tell you and me. His heart isn't pretty or good, Solid Cat. I'm in shock and deeply hurt. I would need Solid Cat Ink, to be fair. I just need to know your story to give you some tailored advice on this situation. Sometimes rejection is God's protection. I've never heard that before, but I can roll with that. Yeah. Sometimes, like I said, a breakup in hindsight, when the dots get connected, was meant to be. I mean, sometimes we're chasing something that's not really reality. Okay, well, that's a bit immature for a 46-year-old. I thought you were talking about a 22-year-old. What's up, Shaquille Slade? How are you? People that act that way in their 40s are very likely not to change their ways. It's true. I think about mid-30s, people get pretty set in their ways. That being said, if there's a traumatic event or a consequence to your actions, people can change, but usually it gets more and more difficult the older you get. That's why we have stubborn old people, right? You have your grandparents. Sometimes you're like, wow, they're stubborn. Everything can be an issue, not to change their ways. Yes, you're her, of course. Love the little person inside you. 5 stages of grief. You will come out at the other side of this and you'll see it's perfect. Yeah, what is the BS you called him out on? Good question. Solid Cat keeps saying, I got this. God is helping me. Yes, silence is power. Thank you. Does he have anger issues? Is he divorced? Your needs matter. Ross Pantera. Would you bed your ex next week if the opportunity came up? Which ex? He had been ignoring me. Hadn't seen him. Thanks to everyone. Thank you, Mac. Yeah, Solid Cat Ink. Like I said, send your story or try to give a little bit more details. I'll give you some. Long answer to that, Ross Pantera. Yeah, like I said, it would have to be which ex, which I have 1, 2, 3, 4. But the idea to bed them, what when you sleep with someone that's your ex, it doesn't just fall out of the sky like grant me 3 wishes from the fairy godmother. What would be entailed? Would it just be a meetup and dinner? Would it be we have to talk about things or get back together? There's a lot into that. My short answer would probably be no, but I would need to know the situation. It's just too broad a question. I'm not desperate in any way. That's for damn sure. What about you, Ross Pantera? What about in regards to your question? Throw it back at you. Oh, Johnny Galliard. How are you, my friend? New Jersey's finest. All right, so let me get into this topic a little deeper because I have a few more stories to add. Petty reasons to break up. So we got 13 on deck, 6 likes. 6 likes. And basically, I had a live coaching session recently, and this situation occurred. So this individual was with his girlfriend at the time. They had broken up and gotten back together, and one of the issues she had with him was not being timely and partially contributing to her being late sometimes for work or being rushed. And she has an extremely prestigious job. let's say as a nurse, and at her job, she really values being on time because it's important to her. And she's an orderly person. She's a person. So this goes into why am I putting this all out there? Because when you unpack a breakup in a situation, a lot of times people go, "Oh, I don't understand why my girlfriend or my partner is like this," because they're not you. They value things differently, and so you really have to understand that you're just not going to look at the world the same. You can accept it or not accept it or agree to disagree, but you can't try to change them in some way. So going back to it, they had broken up before for various reasons. One of her complaints was him being messy and not being timely with appointments. So they get back together in a short period of time. They're back together. Everything's rose petals and wine glasses. The intimacy's good. They've hooked up a few times. He has to catch a flight out of town. The night before, he says, "Hey, can we stop at the drive-thru on the way to the airport to get a breakfast sandwich or whatever?" She says no because she's like, "I want extra sleep, but I don't want to be late for work." He says, "Okay." Then. So the plot thickens. She says, "Okay." He says, "Well, they both woke up in the morning early by chance, so they had plenty of time to maybe stop at a drive-thru to get food." So he says, "Look, since we have plenty of time, do you mind if we stop so I can get this breakfast sandwich I want?" She says, "Okay." So he says they go into the drive-thru, and mind you, I haven't lived in the States for 10 years, and I don't eat at fast food restaurants when I'm home, let alone a drive-thru. So he says they turn into this drive-thru, and I guess with COVID right now, a lot of cities, the drive-thrus are packed. They turn into the drive-thru, unbeknownst to either of them. The drive-thru is actually 2 lanes, and it's backed up. Okay. So she's pissed because she has a possibility in her head of being late. Not that she's going to be late, because he said he was looking at the clock, and he said he could see that she could probably still be on time, if not 2 to 5 minutes late, because they still had that much time. And he goes, someone was at the window disputing a order, so they were taking extra long for that. And he said she just started to steam red smoke out of her ears. No, he didn't say those exact words, but you know what I mean. So she got upset. She was quiet. She was waiting. He got his breakfast sandwich, but now he's in the doghouse because she's blaming him for stopping at the drive-thru before the plane, and now she might be late. You with me? Everyone with me? So he gets on the plane. They had just gotten back together for about 2 weeks. So they were back together, but it was fresh, but it was going really well. And he said he had made some changes about being more timely, some things that had bothered her. He wanted to improve about himself anyways, which is the right thing to do. If you want to take some criticism that you believe is true and turn it around, that's fine. But if you don't believe in it, don't do it. But he said this is one of the things he changed. So he gets to the airport. She still seems like she might be on time or just a few minutes late. She didn't talk to him the rest of the way. As he's leaving, she says something to the effects of, "You've never changed. Don't ever talk to me again," or something like that, right? And he's just like, what the hell? So he's in his head, he's like trying to reason and rationalize why she's so upset. Because the reality is nobody knew that the drive-thru was full. Nobody knew that the drive-thru was going to take that long. And so she had a role in it too. But he also said, he's like, look, she wasn't going to be that late from work also. She completely blamed everything on him and then overcompensated or overreacted to a situation that nobody expected to happen, blamed him, made him feel guilty about it. Or I won't say made him feel guilty. He felt guilty and proceeded to, I think it was the next day or that day, tell him to never talk to her again and that he hasn't changed a bit. And this was a good experience for both of them. So he was left with that. He was shocked. He was upset. And now he's back down to ground zero because he thought we were back together after 2 weeks of being together. And now they're back to ground zero. And I said, listen, here's the thing. And he goes, I really made some changes. But here's the kicker. Are you guys ready? Are you with me? This is what I told him. And it's the absolute truth. I said, she didn't change, but you did. So the reality is that situation with the drive-through, she is so dug in on the fact of not being late, and that if you get involved in that one tiny bit, you're going to get blamed for it. The other part of it is when she says you didn't change any bit, he's like, what does that mean? I've talked about this before. Your partner, when they break up with you, has dug in on the fact of why they broke up with you. And if one of the reasons where you make them late for appointments, and that shows up in the first week or 2 weeks of you getting back together, regardless of how unreasonable it is, they just prove themselves right again. And she's telling you, no matter what, anytime you come remotely close to making me late, I'm going to shove it down your throat. And you have to ask yourself, this is what I was saying, like, maybe you changed and maybe you made some efforts, but she didn't change. She's still the same staunch, unreasonable person that you dealt with before in the breakup. So this is what happens in a breakup. You might have made some efforts. You might have made some changes. You might have done some things, but it takes two to tango. And someone needs to meet you halfway. And when people aren't being rational and understanding, and if anyone, regardless of the situation, is willing to call it curtains, because a chance drive-through situation at a fast food restaurant disenabled them to be at work on time by a few minutes, they still aren't taking responsibility that they actually made the choice to actually go through there. And the idea that it was pure chance that they couldn't see what was around the corner and you get blamed for it, that qualifies as a petty reason to break up. And I'd also add that your relationship isn't standing on a very solid foundation if someone's willing to break up over a drive-through situation like that. Who agrees? Did everyone follow that story, or was it a little bit all over the place? Let me know. All right. Mary, how are you? You said and pronounced it so great. Thanks, buddy. Hey, stranger danger. He knows time is important to her. He shouldn't have said forget the breakfast. It's all about banging a little for your partner. So you actually think that he should have just left the breakfast alone? Okay, interesting, Keisha. Interesting. I'm saying, do you break up over that and tell the person you're never going to talk to them again? I thought that's a bit extreme. Yeah, she didn't improve herself one bit. I got this job offer, the corporate world. I'll call you later and tell you about it. Yes, he should have skipped the breakfast. Really? Okay, so this is a great perspective from women. Because they're saying, actually, he didn't get the fact that he put her in a position to have this happen. Okay. You kind of need a vow to not bring up anything from the past. Me and my girlfriend broke up because she wanted to go on a date and I wanted to go to the gym before the date. That's petty. So you weren't willing to give in and she wasn't willing to give in? Is that what you're saying, Brian? It's really interesting but she handled it very poorly. Okay, I'm with you. Because in my head, hindsight, if it was that big of an issue, if I was him, I probably would have got something to eat at the airport. Like, if I know someone is a time Nazi, which is a bad word to use because I've heard people get really upset saying that. How else would you say it? Time efficient person. If I found out that someone's like that, but that being said, he thought that they had plenty of time, that they were early, and he did not anticipate them running into multiple cars. I get what some of the women are saying out there, like, look, he should have just skipped it, but he didn't pursue that. That being said, her reaction to me was actually a good thing, because the reality is now he knows that any little thing he does he's not necessarily going to get in an argument. He's dust. So why would you continue a relationship? That's what I mean. It's like, even if you get upset with that, I don't have a problem with arguing or having differences. But when someone drops into like, I'll never talk to you again, like saying things like that are just going for the kneecaps, and it doesn't call for that extreme a reaction. But that being said, she was on a very thin line. And like I said, if someone breaks up with you and they broke up with you for very particular reasons, if that reason shows its head again, then they're going to be mad about it again. But that being said, like I told him, if this didn't happen now, it was going to happen down the road. If your relationship's this fragile, you can have an argument. I've had two girlfriends that are very timely, very, very timely. They love being on time, if not early. And I respect that about them because they're responsible individuals. I'm an individual that's responsible, and depending on the appointment, I'll be on time. If it's a casual event, I might be 5 or 10 minutes late. If it's me and you going to lunch together on a Sunday afternoon, and you come to my house to pick me up, and I'm giving you an actual example, and we're supposed to go out to lunch, and I just got out of the shower. I actually had this happen. I remember years back, and I got out of the shower, and I'm in a good mood Sunday afternoon. My girlfriend's like, "Are you ready yet? Are you ready yet?" And I'm like, "What's the big? It's Sunday afternoon. There's no rush. We're not meeting anyone. No one's waiting for us. You know what? I'm ready to go eat. Like I'm hungry." And at the time, I used to be more like this. I'm just fucking chill, right? Like relax. I remember we got in this big argument because I was like, it's not even that big a deal, and I don't get mad very easily. And we got in this big argument. I got really upset, and I said, "Just get out, just leave." And she was kind of shocked because I don't do that very often. It's not the way I argue or whatnot. I just was irritated by it. I thought it was petty that she was getting so upset when we were just going to lunch together. There wasn't an actual time appointment. She said she'd pick me up at 1 o'clock or something like that. And like I said, I was getting out of the shower, I was walking around, and I think what bothered her, I was in a good mood, joking around, and she was tense about something else, obviously. So that being said, we got in a fight, but I would never say, "I'm never talking to you again and we need to break up." It's like, what? No, it's an argument. It's upsetting. We can make up later about it. We can understand. And then afterwards, you think about it like, yeah, I am late a lot. I deserve to be called out on that. That being said, now I'm much more timely and understanding if an individual values more than others. And like I said, if it's casual meetup with a friend, family member, or colleague, I don't find it upsetting for a 5-10 minute grace period. People that are like 30 or 40 minutes late, that's ridiculous on a regular basis. I've had a couple of friends like that, and I just don't have it. I'm just like, no, you can't do that regularly. Oh, this, and this happened. It's like, no. Part of it is it's inconsiderate and selfish. And being a teacher for years, I've heard so many stories of why someone's late. A lot of people are late habitually. People that are on time are habitually on time, and if they're not on time, they're very apologetic and they're embarrassed because it's a value that they hold really tight. And the reason they're on time is because they plan to be on time. Like I said, I value it. Like when I do a live coaching session or something like that, I'm on time. That's how my dad is. Time Nazi. I'm gonna call him that tomorrow when I see him. But it's a lot of successful people are. It's a good habit to be in. But she didn't get done with what she was doing until the gym was about to close. Yeah, a lot of people would say, you can't say that. It's like, just lighten up, people. Come on. People can lose jobs for being late. It was a harsh lesson. She used that moment as an excuse to break up. So here's the thing, roller girl. That's what I was going to get to. Is a petty reason an excuse to break up? It also shows the fragility of your relationship, and it's deeper than just that petty reason. If there's a petty reason given, it's deeper. It's deeper, I think. I probably wouldn't sleep with my ex next week again either. I was referring to your 5-year relationship led to your coaching calling. That led to your coaching calling. For me, no sense repeating the sex, not worth the drama. Uh, that particular good. You've watched a few of my videos, Ross, so you know that story probably. That relationship from now it's 11 years ago, I think, maybe 12 years ago, maybe it's 12 years ago. Shit, I just can't foresee that happening because we're not even in contact. So, and that's not because anyone's bitter. It's just because we live on different continents. We don't come across each other. I'm okay with it. I believe she's okay with it. Um, so no, I've never considered that, but never say never. Sometimes it just boils down to control. The person is controlling. Good point, Keisha. Good point. I mean, I think I didn't say those exact words, but I did talk about the fact that she's controlling the frame. Everything has to be answered by her, and that's not a good situation to be in any relationship. And once someone gets the power in a relationship, they usually like to use it. I'm doing this time management where I write down a schedule for my day and I time myself doing a task to get it done because I get distracted. I'm late to our sessions, Mary. If I am, it's probably because the person before you went over. Some people are too stressed about time and take it personally, even if you were only a minute late. I value time, but there are extremes. I value time. I consider the source. I consider the if you know someone for a while, like I said, if someone's late 1 out of 10 times, then you know it's not a habit. It's just something came up. If someone, I'll add something else to it, Mary. I think that there's a lot of value in someone that's late, but they call you to tell you that they're late. Like they make an effort to go. You know what's funny? I knew Mary was going to say that. I set you up for that, Mary. They call you and let you know, or they sent you a text or an email. There's a lot of value in going, hey, I'm going to be 5 or 10 minutes late. Okay, I just want to give you a heads up. People just want to know rather than wonder, did you forget? I actually had someone that had an appointment with me today at 9 a.m. and it's like, I can't make it. He's explaining everything. I said, no problem. I appreciate that you called me. Thank you. That makes a difference, especially not just texting, but calling. All right, let's see if I have another few stories to strain out of this. You didn't like the birthday gift I got you. Oh, this is a dandy. So this coaching client I had, it's probably 4 or 5 months ago. I'm not sure the exact timestamp. She was dating multiple guys on, I think, Tinder and some other dating apps. This woman was a catch. She was doing, I believe she was in her late 20s. No problem with dating multiple guys, not in a bad way or anything like that. She's just been single and enjoying herself and whatnot. And high value individual. And so she's dating this guy and she takes the next step up and she bought him a gift. And I believe it was a birthday gift, but it could have been a gift that she considered to be a sign of how much she liked him and that it was like a next step thing. So this is a really interesting thing. And it was help me with, because I could get this wrong, a planetarium where you put plants like in a bottle. Does that make sense? Is it called a planetarium? Can you help me with this on the live stream? And she had to explain it to me because I didn't know what it was called. But basically, you have supples, she said, or something, small green plants. And they're inside this, yeah, like I said, like some kind of bottle or glass case, and you feed them and whatnot. It seems, yes, thank you, Roller Girl, terrarium. I'd never heard of these before. Terrarium, got it, la, thank you, hon. So when she described it to me, this terrarium, she really thought this was like a fucking cool gift, right? So this is an interesting story on how I unpack coaching sessions and how someone can find such importance in some things that other people are completely blind to the idea that anyone would not value what they value. Does that make sense? Everyone kind of thinks like everyone around the world values what you value. So she gets this terrarium. They had been, hooking up, seeing each other off and on. They weren't official, but they were starting to get, where he stayed over more times during the week than he used to. And so she says this afternoon, one afternoon, They're hanging out, and she's like, "Hey, I got you a gift." And like I said, I don't know if this was birthday or not. I'm gonna have to. Anyway, she got him a gift. It was a terrarium. So she pulls out the terrarium. She's all excited because she thinks this is a fantastic, interesting gift for this guy. And I don't know who would be a terrarium type, but I'm just thinking scientist, someone that's into plants, um, agriculture, I guess. I don't know, gardener. Now, if someone got me a terrarium, I'd think, cool, okay. She was very upset by the fact that he wasn't very excited about it. He just kind of, he literally went, "Oh, thanks," and put it on the coffee table. And she was like, "Don't you like it?" Da, 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 and on and on and on. He's like, "Yeah, it's cool. Thank you. I appreciate it." Um, and he left and he forgot the terrarium. Surprise, surprise. So now she's doubled down on the idea that he didn't appreciate the gift she got him. But here's the crazy part, and women, if you want to chime in on this that are on the live stream, she said it wasn't just the terrarium, it was a sign she was giving him that she wanted to be official, and that now that they're giving each other gifts, that it's a little bit deeper than just seeing each other. And the fact that he left the terrarium at her house and didn't seem excited about it or stoked about it really upset her. And I was like, well, I mean, it could have been one of those things where, have you ever gotten a gift, and you could say this during Christmas or your birthday, and someone thinks it's a great sweater for you, and you're just like, yeah, thank you. So it's like mom. It's like my mom. I love her so much. I'm blessed to have my mom. But some of the Christmas gifts my mom would give my mom loved to tell people to give me slippers when I was 7. And it was like you open up the present and you're like, slippers? It's like the least exciting thing to get during Christmas, right? And my grandma would be like, "Oh, your mom said you needed slippers." And I'm like, "Yeah, thanks, grandma." It's like we didn't even need to wrap those. It was so unexciting, Someone might be like, "Oh, you're not even appreciating." I'm just being fucking honest. It's not an exciting gift to open, right? Or, someone picks out clothes for you or something like that, and you just don't like the style or the brand, right? It could be the same with the terrarium. She had it in her head that, number one, it's a cool fucking gift. He should have been more excited. Number two, he left it at my house and didn't even take it home. It's possible he forgot. Number three, when she took him the terrarium that he forgot and mentioned it in a text, he still was kind of like, "Oh yeah, I forgot." Kind of indifferent. So eventually she had it out with him over the fact that he didn't appreciate the fact that she got this terrarium for him, and where do we stand now? And I've bought you a gift and you don't even care that much about the gift. And you know what the dude did? Whoa, 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 whoa. Like, all right, we'll talk about this later. And he cut off from her a little bit, and she got shocked kind of by it. It would have been a red flag for me too. Like, okay, you bought me a gift. I tried to be nice about the idea that it was that exciting to me, even though it wasn't. And I'll be honest, I've gotten gifts for people, and I'm a thoughtful person. And sometimes you think someone's going to like your gift more than you think, and they don't. Right? The reality is, she placed way too much value on the fact that he was going to like this kind of a thing, and that somehow it was a symbol that he was supposed to recognize that they were getting closer, and he was supposed to make some kind of effort after this. After this was given to him, and I was trying to explain to her, and she got it later on, that men don't operate on mixed signals or indirect signals. If you would have been direct and said, "Hey, look, where do we stand right now? Da, 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 and I really like you," instead of giving him a terrarium as some kind of signal, which a lot of men wouldn't find that to be like, "Oh, we need to take the next step now that you've got me a plant in a bottle." So let me get into the comments here. I got a list called "The Things for My Peeps," so I could be anywhere, and if see someone I know I put in the list. So whenever I want to surprise them, I got an idea. Cool. She may have gotten him a gift too early in the dating. Is it that big a deal to get someone a gift? He probably just forgot, I think, because it was her idea for a sign the next thing. But this is an example of good communication. She assumed he should be excited, and he should know what this gift means. No, communicate. Say what you mean and what you say. Good, good, Keisha. I agree. I agree. Like I said, I also think that she thought it was a really cool thing, this terrarium. And there are people, and the fact that the guy was completely indifferent and just put it on, just put it on the, and I literally could envision the guy being like, here's my phone. Like the guy just goes, oh, thanks, and keeps talking. Because some guys can be that way. And she was crushed like a little kid that, again, I agree with what Keisha said. This was not very good communication, and she didn't even realize she was being indirect. And after the fact, she was being completely blameful that he didn't get the message. And I'm like, there's a lot of guys that wouldn't get that message. Or once you explain to them that here's a good one, that you should be more excited about receiving this gift from me, that would be a red flag to me, because it's like, so anytime you give me a gift, I got to get down on my hands and knees and thank you and understand the meaning behind it? Or can we just get a gift to give a gift? And the reality is it's kind of an odd, weird gift that not everyone would value. Let's be honest. She doesn't understand how guys think or act with their emotions. Sometimes being too blunt could ruin the moment too. Well, the interesting thing about this woman was that she told me, so she was really hung up on this guy. And like I said, she was dating other guys that she said were attractive and that she had good relationships with. But she said she was hung up about this guy being mysterious and the fact that he didn't just disappear, but he went from they were kind of close, and then they were dating and they had great intimacy, and that everything was great, and then he kind of fell off after this incident, and he was indifferent. And I was like, well, this is what they teach in a lot of men's books, is to be mysterious, to be indifferent. And she's like, really? And to never have the woman chase you. And she told me that from what she's read in a few books is this is how women are supposed to be with men. So I said, well, depends on what kind of man you want, I suppose. But you both can't be doing it at the same time. I said, that wouldn't work either. It becomes this thing, who should chase? Who should chase who? Let me see if I got one more here. Here's one. You break up and the person goes, you just don't like to have fun. you just aren't a fun person. And if you think that's true, then you can accept it. The reality is what's fun to your partner and what's fun to you. So I think I've had this one thrown my way when I was dealing with a partner that was on the beginning stages of becoming an alcoholic. And alcoholism 101 is to make you the bad guy and deflect the fact that they are actually the ones that are doing bad things, or an embarrassing partner. And so they will immediately be on offense and somehow throw a joust at you that you have to deflect without being able to touch them. So the reality is, like, when someone goes, oh, you just don't like to have fun. Well, I mean, what's your idea of fun? Getting wasted with your single friends on a Friday night while you're in a monogamous relationship? So that you got to really think about that. The other one, you can do better than me. Ooh. Has anyone ever heard this in a breakup? You can do better than me. Has anyone used this with someone else? Gifts are probably very important in our own love languages too. What's up, Tommy? Depends on the moment. Tommy. Has anyone had that in a breakup where they either said, you can do better than me, or you had someone say that to you? And I don't know if that's petty or just vague, but to me, it can mean it's a few different things. Translation, I can do better than you. Translations, I've been doing really bad things behind your back and lying. I don't want to tell you everything, but you can do better than me. Translation, I'm seeing someone else. I don't want to tell you all the details. but you shouldn't be with me any longer. Those are like three of the translations from "You can do better than me." See how someone's trying to lead you into leaving them, and "You can do better than me" is also a statement where they're trying to shed guilt. Both chase each other. It's like muskrat love. What does muskrat love mean? And then I just added good reasons to break up as opposed to petty reasons would be our values don't line up. We're not going in the same direction. You're an addict. Is that a good one? You're an addict. I'm done. Piotr Suspect. What nationality is that? That's an interesting Piotr. Hey, my girlfriend broke up with me after 6 months. She reached out. We met a few times, and she invited me for a vacation with her, but she didn't say we're back together. What should I do next? Send your full story to Coach Mac McCarthy, I suppose, at Gmail. I don't even know what happened in your relationship, so I can't really give you. And if you do send it to me, I'm going to read it in the live stream. I'm not going to respond in an email. Muskrats roll around and chase each other. Okay. Number one, what do you want? I would say the short answer, I agree with Mary. Go on the trip. What do you have to lose? She's obviously interested in being with you. Did she declare that you're just friends or you're not friends? Are you sleeping together? Muskrat Love is an old song from the 70s by Captain and Tennille. I've heard of that song before, but I didn't know the statement. I didn't know what it meant. Any other questions before I go here? Any other pressing questions? Why wouldn't you go would be the question. Make sure that you have a good time on that vacation. I would not bring up getting back. I think the number one thing is when you start seeing your ex, um, you need to see them for a little while before you bring up the topic of getting back together. And it would be actually more beneficial if they brought it up. That being said, have a good time, have fun, be in the present moment. Muskrat love, like a couple of rats having sex in an alley. We are better than that. Okay. Ross came with some interesting stuff today. Where are you at in the world, Ross Pantera? I came back from this vacation. We slept together. We had sex, but I don't know what to do next. Should I initiate further meetings? I would say it's a positive. I'd say she has feelings for you. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your trust? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your chemistry or connection? On a scale of 1, what's your intimacy level? If you guys are sleeping together, again, that's a good sign of getting back together. I would continue to have solid dates and hookups, be in each other's presence, and I wouldn't bring up getting back together anytime soon. I would just have fun and be together and not put any expectations or pressure on it. Why did you break up in the first place, Piotr? I have a question. When a man does something nice for you out of nowhere, why? Asking for a friend? I mean, what's the relationship with the man? Is the man someone you work with? Is he a friend? Is he someone you've known for a while? Um, I'll give you a few different answers on that. My short answer would be he probably has some sort of interest in you. That being said, there are people out there that just like to be friendly. It's a love song. I mean, how nice is nice, right? It's one thing if someone brings you a, you know, an extra sandwich at lunch or something like that. That's too broad a question, Mary. But the short answer would be He's probably interested. Um, Especially if your friend's attractive. She's listening. Why didn't she answer the question? Why don't you answer the question directly, your friend? Can you give me some more specifics and I can answer the question better? Is this a guy you work with, a friend, and what was exactly done? And then I'll give you a better answer. It's a bit broad. 14 on deck, 10 likes. Anyone else have a petty reason someone broke up with you or a petty reason you broke up with someone else? Mm, you know what I find petty now, but I didn't find it petty when I was young is, and it was a reason I broke up in the past, is finding out someone slept with someone you know. A guy she dated, but they broke up. So if they dated, they were never together, right? Or how long were they together and why did they break up? This is how coaching sessions go, right, Mary? Questions, questions, unpack questions, unpack questions. Does she want to do a coaching session? Questions, unpack questions. Um, so going back to these petty things, that something I would find, it's not completely petty, but it's petty in hindsight. You're with someone, everyone has a sexual past, right? Or some don't. You could be the first. Um, but you find out through a friend or colleague that they've been with someone and you are somehow ego blasted or maybe even disgusted or offended and you start battering them with, did you hook up with this person? Have you been with this person before? And it's someone that they were with before you. It's their business. And they tell you the truth, and then you choose to break up with them because they've been with someone before you. This has come up a lot. I don't know if it would qualify as petty, but it comes up a lot, especially for guys who feel like this is my girlfriend. I can't believe it was someone else. I've seen this come up a lot, actually, that someone will go break up with someone. Why does my ex want? Why does my ex want to hang out, stay friends, and meet my family? Uh, because the red panda. I know who you are. So I know your situation. So it's not as bad a broad question. Um, for him, I believe that he wants to keep the door open. He's not as serious about the relationship right now, due to timing and circumstance. Um, he's feeling for you. He just doesn't want to be monogamous nor tied down by a relationship due to timing and circumstances. And a lot of, like in your particular case, if I'm correct, someone's going away to school, right? So a lot of times people are like, "Oh, we can make it work," and it's not an ideal situation, especially at university level. Um, and what he's conveying is that I still am close to you. I still want to be close to you, and probably friends with benefits, I'd add, and meet your family because I'm close to you. And you're saying that only applies if we were together officially, and that's your value, and that's your norm, and that's what you want to set as an expectation. And he's saying that we don't have to be so serious, and you're saying no, we do, and that's a choice on both ends. Does that make sense, Red Panda? No one's right or wrong on that situation. What he's saying is that I don't need to be in this monogamous, serious relationship right now to still have a good relationship with you as as a friend or family. And I care about you enough to see your family and stuff like that, but I just don't want to get serious. And if I'm correct, the same person didn't want to get serious before for a different reason. And so they could be using um, deflective issues or problems. And the reality is, you want a monogamous, serious relationship that's 100% in, and he doesn't. And that's okay. You can agree to disagree. You're not going to change his mind because he's done it more than once. To get back with you, probs. Brandon Wallace, welcome. He wants to make an impression by bringing you gifts. What was the nice thing he did? Yeah, I would ask that. Why would you do something nice for a girl you dated? Like I need more details. If what was considered nice, why did they break up? So Red Panda, I would say that to frame this in a way that's not so negative for yourself, you're just at two different places in the relationship. He has the ability to be more casual like that, and you're like, how can you just go from 100 to 0? He's not going to 0. He's just saying that he has feelings for you, that he still cares about you, but at the same time, he doesn't want to be all in like you do. Can you accept that? And if you don't want to accept it, Red Pan, if you don't want to be friends and you don't want them meeting your family because you feel like my feelings are too high, that's a choice you have to make. Mary, how did we have access to our car? You got our car washed and detailed. I wouldn't call that romantic. Acts of service or car washing may be one of his or her love languages. He went out of his way to do it. And he might value having a really clean or nice car, is what I would bet. You know, someone that does that for someone else is like, God, your car's a mess. Let me clean it for you, because that's what I would do. Judy says you got access through me. So he got access to her car through you. That's interesting. Judy has a love language. Any closing questions, folks? Thanks for being on the live stream today. If you want to visit my Instagram at Coach Mac McCarthy, please do. I'm posting pictures of Thailand daily. Lots of sunsets. They were actually real pictures, not stock photos. There's some, being someone that hasn't used Instagram over the years, like some of the stock photo stuff is ridiculous. Going through a friend also shows interest. Sure. I mean, doing anything nice for another individual that you had a romantic relationship for, it's a bit passive rather than just asking them out again. But a romantic. Okay. Wouldn't be something I would do. I don't consider myself a romantic, I don't think, though. So, you know what? Let me get her car detailed for her. Is that what I would ask? Is that something that she's been wanting to do? So I would say it would be much more thoughtful if it was something she's wanted to do and she's mentioned it on a date. How old are you, Mac? I am 39. 39 years old. "39 years old." Same as Mary. Mary's 39, I believe. Any other closing questions here? I'm starting to wane a little bit. I got to get my lunch. It's almost 1 o'clock. It was nice to catch up with you guys today. Any other people have a petty reason they broke up, or you want to? Yeah, tell your friend Mary that we can have a chat about this situation. The question your friend has to ask herself: did she like the gift? What does she want from this guy? Is she interested in, did she think it was a good way to go about things if he does like her, or was it too passive? I thought it was sweet because I love my car. See, you're thinking about it for you. Anything a guy does that shows he's got to go out of his way is romantic. I would do it if it was a gesture of something authentic, and yes, I would do something. Authentic's a great word. Did you see the Donick 3? Oh, yeah. I haven't been following the playoffs closely, Rob, but I'll tell you what, I'm rooting for the Mavs and uh I'm rooting for um Donick, especially after that slur. Did Montrezl Harrell get a play today? Yes, what does he need? Donnick's amazing. He's just amazing. I mean, for how young he is. Okay, please eat my friend. I don't even want to go there. Uh, 39 and handsome. Well, thanks, Roller Girl. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. 39 and beautiful. Good for you, Mary. That's confidence. Good for you. I would love, Rob. I would love to see the Mavs beat the Clips. No closing questions, folks. This has been good. I'm actually going to be posting a lot more. Don't bring me into your age. I'm happy. You know what's funny about being 39? I have to think for a moment. It's like, damn, you're 39 already. But in my mind, I'm like, it is what it is. But I feel good for 39. I feel really good. I get my exercise. I live in a good place. I'm in a good place. I like what I do. It all helps, right? Well, Tuesday was the breakup because my ex failed to be transparent about his sexuality 3 weeks, but I've kind of known him for 3 years. I was shocked. So you dated and then he dropped the "I'm gay." Is that what you're saying? When Donick did left hand through the legs, then stepped back to shoot the three, was one of the best threes this playoff so far. He's amazing, man. I was shocked that Paul George didn't guard him, but I mean, he's amazing. I was calling you that. 39 and beautiful. I thought you were calling yourself 39 and beautiful. Beautiful is usually, you call men beautiful? She meant, please eat my friend. Meat? Do you think it was meat or eat my friend? I asked on our second date. He basically lied and finally told me on Monday night. Why would someone go on a why do you think he went on a date with you? Out of pity? Why would someone lie about that? Because Rita Rose, if I'm correct, you're in your late 30s also. Aren't you 38 or 39? What's a what does that even mean? He said he was on the spectrum. What does that mean? Oh, bye. Well, Jessica, if you heard I think we've had 2 live streams. Jessica considers herself pan, which means I believe that you just focus on the individual, pansexual. Um, what does it mean? He said he was on the spectrum. What does that mean? That you're on the perimeter of that? Men are beautiful? Okay. I've just never heard someone say, "Oh, he's beautiful." Even in Thai, they have a word for handsome and beautiful. Beautiful is used for everything. You could have a phone that looks beautiful. You can have everything's beautiful. If there's no interesting thing in Thai is that you don't have as many words. Like if you think about beautiful in America, you have gorgeous, you have hot, you have beautiful, you have pretty, cute. You have all these terms. We just don't have all that. Autism spectrum? He knew that I wasn't on board for dating guys that weren't hetero, and I thought I would give him a chance. I don't know what that is. That weren't hetero. I don't know what that is. Rita Rose. I'm not familiar with that, and I'm not familiar with autism spectrum. Sorry. So this is new to me. Mary, that's what we're here for. You don't like being called cute. Cute can be, yeah. Mm. It's funny. You know, it's one that I always notice is sexuality spectrum. Apparently, okay, I'm just not familiar with. Where you at now, Rita Rose? You in NY or are you in Paris? In Paris? We got to get Jessica back on another show, huh? Soon. It's been dominated by women today. After 30 years old, we are not cute. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I've gotten cute many times since I was younger. I guess so. I think someone can be cute. Like cute's more like a smile or something or sweetness. NYC. 55 and over. Bring cute unless that's where the theme I'm going. My mother for years, if she'll never say someone's unattractive if they're a woman. She'll go, "Oh, she's just a little homely. She's homely," which means plain, I guess. She'll never say someone's ugly. She'll say, "She's a little homely." Anyone have a topic for the next live stream that you want me to talk about, or a topic that you want a female perspective of? If I get Jessica back on the live stream, if you want the two of us to unpack something here, got about 5 minutes left here. We're waiting. 13 on deck with 13 likes. Haha, homely. Do you ever even hear someone say that? Like someone's homely? I don't know if that's just an old term. Mom always does that though. She's a bit homely. It's definitely not a compliment to call someone homely, right? Broke up with my ex because she wanted to hang with a dude she was seeing after she broke it off first time. Is that petty for me? She called me controlling after ending it. No, no. I don't think that's petty. I think if you broke up and your girlfriend and you got back together and your girlfriend dated a guy previously so that conveys that they both had interest in each other and she wanted to hang out with the guy. I think individually, some guys would say fine, some guys would say no, but you have a right to say, hey, I wouldn't like it. You never want to say you have to do something. So you say, hey, I don't like that you're seeing each other. I know he has feelings for you. I mean, if she's gonna do it anyways, I mean, it counts that they dated before. But that if that's something that bothers you, then you have to be upfront about it. And if she's telling you up front and she's saying that that's controlling for her, that's just her individual definition of what controlling is, and you can take it however you want. Ex is calling but has a girlfriend. Oh, ex is a bisexual sex addict. Jeez. I wish I had a story to add to that for someone. Rob likes that, homely. Have you ever even heard someone use that word? I think it's plain rather than ugly, but my mom would just, I mean, it's just not commonly used. Like, she's a bit homely. Definitely does not mean you're attractive. Never been called that. Thank you. Charming is a compliment. Charming is a big compliment. What is the definition of charming to you, Mary? I don't even know where to go with that one. I'm not sure I've known anyone in a live coaching that has been in that situation, Rita Rose. How's things going? We got 11 on deck. I'm just curious because I think most of you are in the States. Rob's in Canada. I'm not sure. Are things opening up for people to date? I know that this was a big reason or excuse. It's not even an excuse that COVID put things on hold for a lot of people's dating lives. Have things opened up? Have you adapted? This is something maybe I'm. Well, neither do I. Oh no. Charming is being a gentleman in a cute, gregarious way. Okay, that's why I left. Tantalizing. That's an interesting word. I'm just asking in regards to COVID. There's a lot of people that have had it affect their relationship and their dating by just being quote unquote locked down, or being nervous or scared about meeting anyone. And I'm just curious if that's opened up as far as I just talked to someone that was in North Carolina and he went out to a sports bar yesterday. I don't know if it was an outdoor seating thing, but and mingled with some women and some friends and whatnot. And so it just he said that for a few months there it was really difficult to go out at all. Well, that's an interesting way to put it, Mary. Roller girl, are you in Vegas? For some reason I thought you were in North Carolina or South Carolina. Neither do I, bro. All right, the numbers are waning. Like I said, there will be. I'm working on a few videos. I actually have a camera guy right now that I'm actually paying this month. So we're collecting more footage of being in Thailand, being on the beach. I'm trying some new things with interviews. So there's going to be some new things to the channel. Got a new trailer made. Moving on up. We are slightly open in Maryland. My ex is coming from NY to visit, but he has a girlfriend. I'm confused. No, you're not. If you know he has a girlfriend, you know what's up. I don't know if you're confused. He's coming to visit you specifically, Keisha? Viva Las Vegas. Here, why don't you do this for you, Keisha? Why don't you send me my website's not up. Coach McCarthy at Gmail. Send me your story. I won't say who it is, and I'll discuss it in the live stream tomorrow. I'm gonna be on tomorrow for sure. I'll post it on Instagram too. Um, what does it mean to be a camera operator? Is that all right, Keisha? I won't say your name, but why don't you tell me your story? I'm interested. Give me some inside and outs of it, of what's going on, and I'll give you my take, and we won't say it to you. 2:45 a.m. if you're still up. What does it mean to be a camera operator? Like a video? Guy gin tonic simp. Okay. I wish I knew. I was just okay. Deal. All right, folks, it's an hour and a half. Thank you kindly for joining. It's been great. I wish you all well. It's curtains.